So here we're going to be looking at a demonstration of what it feels like to be a user, looking at the skills element of coaching, and then also give you some insight on what it feels like from a user perspective to have a go at coaching an avatar to really help bring the solution to life for you.
All right, Lily, I'll just share my screen. Okay, brilliant. It should load in a moment. It's always a little bit jittery when sharing through Zoom. So worth just mentioning that now. It may look a little bit sort of static, but for me, it's very, very smooth. So you're taken to the skills game, and as you can see, it's optimized for mobile phone, but you can absolutely play it on your browser. The reason it's optimized for mobile phone is that so it's really easily accessible, can be played anywhere, anytime. But of course, if it's more convenient for you, you can play it in your browser as well. You get an overview of your progress, so how far certified you have, and the number of points you have, which for those of us who are quite competitive, instills a healthy sense of competition. You're taken to a map which takes you through all of the different modules that you need to go through in order to build the core kind of coaching competencies. So as Tracy mentioned, you get a welcome to the ICS, an overview of what coaching is, and then a module for each of the core skills that will make you an effective coach. So today I'm just going to talk you through the listening module, where you'll learn a little bit about how to effectively apply listening to coaching conversations. So let's hit play.
One of the core skills of coaching is knowing how to listen.
So we are given 3 different options, one which is the optimum answer, one which is okay, and then one which we wouldn't recommend. So I'm going to be a very good coach and say, listen.
You learn fast. Listening is about staying present and being focused on the coachee, giving them the time and space they need to express themselves, even when you want to say something. Sometimes it can be uncomfortable, but it's one of the most important things you can learn as a coach. Here are some tips that will turn a good listener into a great listener.
So you'll hear that really gratifying noise when you get an answer right. You see your points tally up in the top left-hand corner, and then you're invited to play through some mini games. So we always mix up the format by which the learning is delivered to keep learners on their toes and keep them really engaged. So before a coaching conversation, how might you best prepare your own mind? I'm going to say turn off your phone. I want to arrive at the room early. And I want to schedule some alone time before I start. Now, I've played this multiple times, so I know what the answers are, but they're designed to be quite challenging, and they're designed for you to maybe get them wrong. And the reason for that is people learn best by making mistakes. And once they get it wrong, they'll have to go back in and repeat in order to get the right score. So I'll show you what happens if I do get one wrong. I'm going to promise myself not to look at emails, which we all know is unrealistic. You get some points detracted, a slightly jarring noise, which really taps into the human psychology of wanting to do our best. You then get a little bit of context about why that answer is as it is. And then you're thrown into a question answer. So should the coachee know how carefully you're listening to them? And you are then tasked with choosing the best option. So I think I'm going to go with yes, active listening communicates that the coach is paying attention. And again, this will probably be quite jittery for you, but good listening takes into account which factors. So I will say pace of speech, loudness of voice, body language, and emotion. Then true or false, the best way to understand what the coachee is saying is to take detailed notes. That's false. And then we get a little bit of context as to why note-taking can become a distraction for you and the coachee. And this, when I first played this, was a really big learning for me because I'm an avid note-taker. I take notes a lot in meetings. And it was a helpful moment of reflection to realize that actually it could be perceived a different way to the other people. Then you're coaching in front of a colleague and they mention an unpleasant conversation. What would be an appropriate coaching response? You'll learn a little bit more about this throughout the course of other modules. But of course, the answer will be listen and give your coachee space to talk. Why they found the confrontation unpleasant would be a very logical answer, but you learn from other modules that why can be quite a confrontational question in itself. Sharing a similar experience is, of course, a very logical thing as well, but it's too much focused on yourself rather than them. And asking how upset the client made them could be a bit presumptuous. And it's worth calling out here that generally all of the options we give are realistic. We never want to put a silly answer in there, which is clearly wrong. Occasionally we might for sort of humor's sake, but generally it's going to be really realistic. And the reason for that is we want to kind of almost set traps for people so that they can actually test what they know to be true, try, get it wrong, and then learn in doing so. I'll just move the little bar. And then a matching exercise. Why would a coach want to avoid each of these responses? And then you get that context as to why each of the previous incorrect answers was incorrect. So share a similar situation. Your job is to listen, not to put yourself in the situation. This question is a bit presumptuous. Oh, well, there we go. I got that one wrong. There we go. And then the last little question is a fill in the blank. A coach must maintain a balance of empathy and blank. We can achieve this by calming our inner voice, knowing when not to speak, and giving our full attention. So I'm going to say objectivity. And then the best way to raise awareness is letting them speak. And you'll see that the module's finished. Obviously, that took a little bit longer than it would normally do because I was talking through it, but it's super quick and super bite-sized. Generally, people can play it within a couple of minutes, meaning it's a really effective way of just sort of breaking up their day. They can dip in and out really easily. You get an overview of the percentage you got correct, your total score, and whether or not you certified. So you need 4 stars to certify. It's designed so that most people only get 2 or 3 stars the first time around, so they have to go back in and repeat, which really cements the learning. And then again, for the really competitive people, you can get combos and quick answers to even more bolster your score if that's interesting to you.